Now, here's your host, Bill Teegins.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Eddie Sutton Show. The Cowboys are 10-4 on the season, 1-1 in play last week. Coach, you've played your final non-conference game of the year. Now the meat of the Big 8 schedule is ahead.
Well, we've got about 6 weeks left in conference play and some big games coming up. You know, we're 0-2 in conference play, and that's happened to us before, and hopefully our guys can regroup. I think the biggest thing we have to have happen is get everyone healthy. If we can get everyone back, then I think we can be very competitive, but we've been very crippled either with illness or injuries, and even this past week, Mo Robinson wasn't with us when we played Iowa State. He wasn't with us when we played our last non-conference game with Cal Northridge, and Jerome Lambert had a throat infection, and he wasn't at full speed, so hopefully we can get them all back together, and if we can do that, I think this ball club has a chance to win a lot of our conference contests.
Well, Iowa State on the road for the Cowboys last week. Let's take a look at the highlights of that one. And, well, it's always tough to play up there. 13,000 plus in Ames, Coach.
I think this is probably the most one-sided game that we've had in the 6 years we've traveled to Ames. They jumped out early on us, and then it was an uphill climb, but our guys did display a lot of competitive spirit because we fought back in the second half and got up on them by 2 points, but just couldn't hold on.
You know, you mentioned Mo Robinson not playing. You were thin to begin with, and then you got a couple of key guys in foul trouble early. That really made you play differently defensively, didn't it?
We committed a lot of fouls, and we didn't adjust well, I guess, to the officiating because they shot 33 free throws and we shot 10. We outscored them by 4 field goals, and we just got to learn to play good, solid defense and do so without putting the other team at the free throw line.
Iowa State, those fans are pretty rabid up there, aren't they?
Great fans, and they're very enthusiastic, and like I said, we've had some great games up there. We had beaten Iowa State, I think, 6 straight times and twice in a row in Ames, but wasn't to happen on this day. They beat us 79-71. Jerome Lambert had an outstanding ball game, maybe one of the best that he's had since he came here. He led us in scoring with, I think, 22 points, had 8 rebounds.
Halftime, you're down, I think, 39-30. Yeah, you're down by 9 at the break. So what do you talk to the kids about at halftime?
Well, we felt like that we were still okay because we'd really played them dead even for about the last 15 minutes of the first half. They jumped on us that first 5 minutes, and we told them we felt like if we went out and pressed them, we could force them into some mistakes, and we did that. We made 2 or 3 adjustments, and over the next 10-minute period, we climbed right back into the game. I think we finally got the lead at 52-50, and then they reeled off 10 or 12 points in a row on us. Our defense kind of collapsed. What happens many times when you're behind and you have to exert so much energy to catch up, then when you get past the ball club, sometimes you're fatigued and the other team gets momentum, especially when you're playing on the road. You'll see the home team come back in a game like Iowa State did.
Your pressure defense really caused some problems.
Well, we were pressing what we call a 30 red, which is an airplane press, a 1-2-1-1 press, and we've pressed more this year, I guess, than any time since I've been at Oklahoma State. But you kind of have to adjust your team to the talent that's available. And of course, the makeup of this ball club and the personality of this team is much different than what we've seen the last few years when you had Big Country and you were always trying to get the game, into the ball into him, and now we're having to press and try to make it more of a transitional game.
Well, you make everybody, when your bench is so thin, everybody that comes in has to play a key role. Kevin Miles scored 4 points, did some nice things for you.
Kevin has helped us. He helped us the other night in the Cal State Northridge game.
Keanu's not playing much better, isn't he? He's really
much better. In this ball game, I thought he was more aggressive, and in the game with Northridge, he had 24 points. In this game, he had double-figure scoring. He was second with 16 points, had 6 rebounds. He's got to play well for us to win, and there's another guy that's, I think, starting to play good basketball again, Adrian Peterson. He went through a little bit of a freshman slump, I think, right after the holidays, but he's playing much better.
Yeah, it's great to see that. I think you're about to take the lead right here.
Great tip in by Lambert. RW keeps getting better and better. In this ball game, I thought he did a good job, and he and Andre now are kind of alternating, playing the point position.
Well, he is so quick, isn't he, McQuarters?
He's one of the quickest players I've ever coached. And there you see he took the ball right down that baseline and laid it in. His first 2 steps, he's almost going full speed.
He's a jet, isn't he? You could just feel the momentum switch to you guys, and then they came just rushing back. Again, being on the road is a tough thing to do in the Big 8.
It's always tough to play on the road in most conferences, but I'm not sure. I've coached in 3 different leagues, and I'm not sure the Big 8 isn't the toughest, because most of the time when you play on the road, you're playing before a full house, and you only get 25 complimentary tickets when you're on the road, and you buy 75 others, so you're really outnumbered when it comes to the fans.
The 9-point game here in the final stages. Your guys really battle hard, though. They never quit in this game. They haven't quit all season, but this one, they kept going right down to the end.
You know, both these teams have had a hard time scoring, but in this ball game, I think Iowa State hit the highest percentage they've hit all year, 58%. We shot 52% from the field. But the game was really won at the free throw line. They got a lot more opportunities than we did.
Tim Floyd has done a good job there. A lot of newcomers, but again, he comes away with a 79-71 victory.
I think one of the things that makes the Big 8 tough also, I think this league really has some quality coaches, and usually anyone, when they have a good coach, they're going to really sell their players. You've got to protect the home turf.
Well, talking about the home turf, it was a triumphant return for the Cowboys at Gallagher-Iba Arena. We'll take a look at that when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. The Cowboys return home to Gallagher-Iba Arena, coach an unbelievable record against non-conference opponents in Stillwater.
It truly is remarkable. You know, we haven't lost any non-conference games since I came here 5+ years ago, but that streak was started before I arrived. Leonard Hamilton's ball clubs. We haven't lost a non-conference game in Gallagher-Iba since 1987, and this was a 62nd victory for us. Crowd always has played a major role in helping put that streak together, and we've played some very good basketball teams during that stretch. There's R.W. McQuarters. I gave him a chance to start. We got to get him more playing time because we're going to need him as the season goes along. And there you see a great quickness that he has. He can break a defense down. He penetrates here, forces a help situation, and then dishes the ball off to Jerome Lambert. Jerome Lambert passes to Keontae, and that's 2 of Keontae's 24 points.
Do you like the way RW has progressed? Is he making nice progress?
Oh, I think so. He's been out with us, you know, a little over a month, and he just continues to get better as he learns more and more about the way we want the game to be played.
The Matadors of Cal State Northridge, and they got off to a good start last night.
Well, they certainly did. They, I think, had us down like 13-8, and they hit some big shots. They had some good shooters. They ended up only shooting 35%, but early in the game they were shooting a much higher percentage than that.
You had some guys that we'll see throughout.
There's
Chad
a guy
Alexander.
that came off the bench, and I was really pleased that Chad Alexander had that kind of a game. He had 18 points, 4 out of 6 from three-point range, and that's the highest point production that he's had since he came here. And not only did he score, he had 5 rebounds and a couple assists, and I thought played very well at the defensive end.
That's great. He really looked good. And Keontae had another great game.
There's a nice pass by Andre into Keontae. Keontae, I mentioned, had 24 points, but he also had 10 rebounds, so he had a double-double. Second time he's been able to do that this year. I hope that continues.
This was a strange game of spurts. I mean, you guys just exploded in that second half. I mean, you're a better team than these guys, obviously, but you guys just really lit it up in the second half.
Well, in the first half, Chad and Keontae really kind of carried us offensively. The second half, Jason Scare probably played the best half offensively he's played all season. There he comes on a nice cut to the basket, nice feed by Pete. I guess it was Lambert that made that feed.
Yeah, here it is again.
It's kind of a diagonal cut and protects the ball with his body and shoots with his left hand.
15 of his 16 came in that second half.
Well, he played the way that I hope that he'll continue to play, because that's the way I had visualized that Jason would play for us this year.
Guys, again, we're going to see some faces we haven't seen for a while. There's Chad again. I'll tell you what he didn't look like he really put his body up in the right way, but he was just on fire.
Well, there's Jason hitting a couple. That last shot that Alexander got, I really felt that Andre Owens probably played a much smarter game at the offensive end than we've seen, and he also played very well defensively. He had 8 assists and only 1 turnover, but he was looking for his teammates and getting the ball to them, and we want him to score. But a point guard, his first responsibility is to deliver the ball to scorers and put it to them in areas where they can put points on the board.
Jason connecting from three-point range, and how about Pete setting up and hitting one?
Well, Pete ends up with 12 points. We had 4 people in double figures. There's Alexander getting one of his 5 rebounds up to Jason Scare. There's another nice move.
Beauty. Fun to watch when it goes like that, isn't it? Here's another look at it.
I felt the last 30 minutes we probably played about as well as we could when you take into consideration the strength of our club from a physical standpoint, with Lambert really not being up to par, and with Robinson on the bench. And here we get a look at Tommy Warner and Billy Lewis. Now they came in here, and in 13 minutes between them, they had 5 assists. They both scored, and really did a terrific job. And you know, you don't get to play those walk-ons too often, but they come out every day and work their tails off, and they really help our ball club. And when you do get a chance to play them, well, you know, I'm really excited that we can, because they're not only good basketball players, outstanding students and outstanding young people. And there's a nice pass by Billy Lewis off to Keontae Roberts.
Well, you can tell the other players were happy that they got to play.
They're very well liked. And the fans loved it. You know, in a game like that, it was a blowout, but watch this pass. Behind the back.
That was sweet, wasn't it?
Billy thought he was back at Enid High School there.
Here it is again. This is great. Yeah, can't do it much better than that.
And Keontae finishes it off. So, great hustle play here. Nice pass by Andre, and Billy gets 2 points.
Relentless. Here they come again. You got a new dynamic duo, maybe, Coach.
Well, this is a lot of fun. I'm afraid this may be the last game where it's one-sided like this. From now on, all conference games, all very tough opponents. And upcoming Saturday night, we host the Nebraska Cornhuskers, a team that, if there is a surprise, maybe, I think they were picked preseason 4th. And Kansas is on a level a little bit by themselves, but after watching all of the teams play, I am convinced that Missouri, Oklahoma, and Nebraska probably have an opportunity to upset Kansas on their home floor. They're very good basketball teams. I'm not sure this is the best Nebraska team that we faced, and certainly it will be the toughest challenge that our ball clubs had to face, because, you know, we're not as deep, we're not as experienced, we're not as good a ball club as we've had here the last few years.
Well, we'll find out about Nebraska again. That's coming up Saturday night. When we return to the Eddie Sutton Show, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. What's your favorite shot in the history of Oklahoma State basketball? Well, Tom Dorado and Wade Pearson have put together their top 10 list. There have been some great ones. Here's a look at our off-the-court feature this week.
The Cowboys' success story under Eddie Sutton has been well documented. 132 wins in a little over 5 years, 5 straight trips to the NCAA tournament, a Final Four appearance. It's been non-stop excitement since 1990-91. And here are some of the more memorable moments in the Sutton era. Number 10. Terry Collins slammed the door on third-ranked Wake Forest in Game 1 of last year's East Regional.
Wake Forest, no timeouts left. And they don't have any fouls to give, and who loses the ball? Oh, at the other end, Collins!
Terry Collins.
And the Oklahoma State Cowboys, the 4th seed, out of the Big 8, are in the round of 8.
Number 9. Randy Rutherford's twisting, turning 3 sealed the regional championship win over number 7 UMass.
Jason Scare gets it to Rutherford. Oh my goodness!
Number 8. Sean Sutton's pressure 3 gave the Cowboys a final shot at Michigan in the '92 Southeast Regional at Lexington. Number 7. Brooks Thompson's timely drive sent the Cowboys into overtime against Providence in the 93-94 season opener. Number 6, Keani Roberts soared up and over KU's Greg Ostertag, and the Cowboys win in Gallagher-Iba Arena last year.
Now here goes Keontae. I mean, it's sweet as wine. Keontae taking it to the rack, baby. He says, up and away. Get out of here, Big O. You can't get this one, baby.
Number 5. Bryant Reeves left no doubt about this one as he sent Oklahoma defenders running for cover in the 95 Big 8 tournament victory over the Sooners.
Reeves with authority.
Number 4. There was no question about Randy Rutherford's range after this bomb in the win over Oklahoma on ESPN.
Shot clock down to 5. Good hit. That's a 24-footer.
Number 3. A game of inches. Corey Williams came that close to helping OSU defeat Temple in the 91 Sweet 16. Number 2. This Byron Houston hoop nailed down the preseason NIT crown against Georgia Tech at Madison Square Garden in New York.
There he is on the floor. Over Geiger.
I don't buy the argument he can't put the ball on the deck. I don't buy that argument at all.
Number 1. And who will ever forget this shot?
64-61 Missouri, 2 seconds to go. Cowboys with the basketball. Reeves.
He made it! We are going to overtime!
Oh my goodness. Can you believe it?
No!
That's another great feature, but when you look at those shots, it really brings back a lot of pleasant memories. Guys, time has flown so quickly since I came back, and the 5+ years I've been here, we've just had some wonderful times.
Well, some great shots. Hey, if you have one that's in the top 10 that didn't make it, give Tom Dorado a call because there is more to come. And when we come back on the Eddie Sutton Show, we'll talk about what's ahead for the Oklahoma State Cowboys right after this. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. Back to work. A busy week for the Cowboys. You have Nebraska at home Saturday and then on the road to Kansas State.
A very big game here because we're 0-2, they're 1-1, and very easily could be 2-0. I mentioned earlier they beat Colorado at home. They lost to the University of Oklahoma in triple overtime in Norman last Saturday. I really think this is the best Nebraska team. They've got better inside play than they've ever had before. They have a junior college player, Garner, and Moore has improved. And between those two guys, they're averaging a little over 40 minutes a game, but they're averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds. We all know about Boone and Strickland. They've got a freshman point guard, Lou, and Wald, who share time. So it's a very solid Danny Nee basketball team. And we've got to go on the road then next Wednesday to Manhattan, Kansas. And, of course, K-State, they've played very well. This is the best K-State team, I guess, that we've seen in the league since I came to Oklahoma State. So it's going to be a tough 2 games, and like I said earlier, I hope our team can get healthy.
Well, we need the fans out there Saturday night, Coach. Best of luck to you there. And again, it's the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Cowboys on Saturday night. For Coach Sutton, I'm Bill Teegins. We'll see you next week on the Eddie Sutton Show.